what you've just given a really good description of what somebody has to do to reestablish credit. How easy is it to phone the credit bureau and say, look, you got a balance of $5,000 showing at the Bank of Nova Scotia, that was paid off 5 years ago, or I went bankrupt and all those things were wiped. What have you still got them there for?
I can, about a year ago, they gave myself and other mortgage brokers, individuals who have basically an account with Equifax, they gave us the right to petition Equifax on the client's behalf. I think it cost us somewhere between $25 and $35 per inquiry. So if it was a credit card, I could go to Equifax, say, here's the evidence that it was paid off in the bankruptcy, but the credit bureau doesn't say it. Oh, here's also the client's other ID, so we've got a bunch of stuff to say the client is who it is. We can submit that and then ask Equifax to, or TransUnion to rectify that situation. Typically, clients do that themselves. They make an inquiry onto Equifax. That sets basically a record in there that they've inquired on the account on this date at this time. When they get their inquiry, which you can get for free once per year, just by going to, we'll use Equifax for an example. So when you look at the Equifax screen, when you're looking at it on the right-hand side, my left, you will find there's a little button hidden off to the corner for the free, that would be the free report. They want you to hit the $24 or the $14 report because they want some money. And you can get those right away if you can answer all their questions correctly. With the free report, you have to give them a photocopy, I believe, of your driver's license and some other pieces of evidence that you are who you are at that address. In getting that, though, you can now say, oh, here's a mistake on my credit bureau. And I can tell you, David, I've seen it lots of times. If you give me 100 people who I have had problems with my credit in the past, about 80 or 90 of them will have mistakes. And if you give me 100 people who have, say, I've got perfect credit, I'll find maybe 50, up to about 50% of them, 30 to 50% of them will have mistakes. An example would be one of my clients calls up and said, I called TD, and they won't give me an increase on the line of credit. We have some credit card debt we want to put in. Small loan, like 30% loan to value, and she's the only one on that. Her husband's not on there. And I looked at that and I went, oh, well, let's see. So I said, can I get your credit history? I got authorization for a credit history. You should always get signed authorization now because they've changed that. So if anyone's going to take your credit history, they need to have a signature or a signature on file. So I got that, and I looked, and I quickly glanced at the address, and I went, did you change your address? And this is someone with good credit history. And she says, no. And I says, well, we've got this Langley address. Is that, and you're not at, that's not the address I have on file. So I said, where was it? It was in Willow. You know what? The credit bureau has you living at the branch, which is kind of funny because you're living at the branch, but they won't give you the loan. So it's just comedic. But so looking at these, you need to look at these, and everyone should look at their credit history at least once a year and double check to make sure that everything's correct. Going back to the bankruptcies, people need to tidy that up, reestablish their credit. I have an email when I see a situation, because I encounter this at least 3 or 4 times a month. I've got 2 or 3 templated emails. I send it out, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And if over the space of a year to a year and a half, they can basically reestablish their credit. It might take them 24 to 36 months if they've got outstanding debt that they have to pay down. Yeah. But usually, if they're just about paid off their debt, and it's just reestablishing 12 to 24 months, they can be back getting the best discounted rate, default insured, 5 to 10% down, but 5% down is what we can do at 24 months. So they can get that. Your situation, it required me looking around because you had enough equity, and you had, again, it wasn't a fault.
But I was 64 years old.
Okay.
And retirement age, if that's the right word. Right?
True.
And I'm still working.
Mm-hmm.
But what was funny about that is I actually, if you maybe not, I don't even know if I told you, I'd actually had $90,000 in the bank at the time, in the Bank of Montreal.
That's right.
Who'd watched it all go, wouldn't even entertain taking that, wouldn't even take an application. It was so disgusting. You know what I mean? I mean, I'd proven that I could go, I went $5 million bankruptcy. Proven that I could make some money, and the Bank of Montreal wouldn't even take an application.
This is where I have to bite my tongue in certain situations because there's certain lenders out there. I mean, it's not unexpected, is what I'm saying, for a lot of the major institutions to basically hit a problem with that.
Well, I don't mind telling everybody
Yeah.
as well. And you were at a seminar I did the other day when I mentioned you from the floor. You were just a guest in the audience, but I mentioned it again that Manulife has a wonderful line of credit plan. But again, I applied to them, and they wouldn't even take the application. And then I sent them somebody else who wouldn't put an application in on a beautiful, good credit history, everything else, but it was a steel and concrete high-rise, and there were so many limitations. I sent like 5 people in a row that didn't get anything. So I don't have an awful lot of good to say about it. You know, it's like the Manulife one only gives you the money if you don't need it.
Yeah, I just
You don't have to say anything. I'm saying it for you.
Well,
I'm saying it.
Okay. We just, Bob Ord, who is the president of Mortgage Architects, and my next mortgage, has been in the industry. He's probably a bit older than you, and he's still out there, and knows everyone as everyone. We had a long, detailed conversation about some financial institutions which you've just mentioned. So, you know, there are institutions that work very well when you purchase property. They can act very quickly. We can get turnarounds. I mean, not overnight. Everyone's used to a click of a mouse and stuff gets in. They send documents in to me. I take a look, make sure it's right, get it to the lender, get the lender to review it. We've got 24 to 48 hour turnaround on some stuff. But certain other institutions just don't operate in that time frame. And 3, 4, 5, 6 business days, this client with the multiple rental properties, another bank, big blue bank, took 4 weeks to get back to him to tell him, no, we can't do it. And you know what? That left me about a week and a half before, so I positioned it, sent it off. Small chance, didn't get done by the lender that it fit their ratios because of not enough liquid assets. But that individual, we got him done with a couple of small seconds, and another not completely discounted but close to discounted first on the property he was acquiring. So the idea with that is that situation is you can find solutions given enough time, but you also have to know where you can place the business. And in the situation, there's certain lenders you just won't.